Trump changes 2025 Fed plan. I'm actually very curious to hear that. And I'll be honest, being that this came right on the heels of the election, I'm a bit surprised that they moved. Good afternoon, traders. Good afternoon, outliers. Happy Thursday. Happy Fed Day. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope you're getting ready for Thanksgiving. I know I am. I have like a whole seasonal section in my closet. My wife buys me these things, and I just think they're tons of fun. So you'll definitely get to see me wearing some of these. But in the meantime, it's Fed Day. That totally snuck up on me. I was not ready for it. To be 110% honest, I didn't even know it was happening today until I saw Dave's message in the Discord, and I was like, oh, is that today? So I was way behind. But Sebastian is here. Good to see you, Sebastian. Dave says, what an amazing afternoon. How's everyone? Dave is a real rock star lately. Michael, he's cold. Where are you at, Michael? Dave says, not here. It's about 70 degrees in Arizona. Just look at your market. It'll warm you up. It's currently 71 where I live right now. Michael's been looking at some leaps. These upticks are killing my budget and strategy. Oh, I gotcha. Peter, good to see you. Yorn, hello, everyone. Cold where he is in Winnipeg. Afternoon from Tug. Mikey Mike is here. Good to see you again. Jean-Louis. Dave says, yeah, I'm waiting to catch some Google, some INTC coming back down a bit. Got some roadblocks, just like my kids do. It's already up 3% in an hour. Man, David's just scooping them up. Wes, good afternoon. Michael, good to see you. Other Michaels and Rocky Mountain High. Very, very cool. All right, so speaking of Fed Day, let's take a break from politics and go listen to somebody chatting about Fed Day. Breaking news. Hang on, where's this say? Breaking news. Fed cuts rates by 25 basis points. Trump changes 2025 Fed plan. I'm actually very curious to hear that. And I'll be honest, being that this came right on the heels of the election, I'm a bit surprised that they moved. I mean, there's a lot going on all at once, right? So I'm a bit surprised that Jerome Powell is moving. But as you've heard me say, Jerome Powell is either all the way on the gas or all the way on the brake. He's neither, like, he doesn't ever just hit it on cruise control. But I was having a conversation with a institution just yesterday when I was doing some consulting, and I brought up the Fed Watch tool. And we were talking about interest rates going up and down. And I'm like, the market's planning on interest rate cuts coming soon. And he's like, really? And I said, yeah, dude. All you got to do is Google CME Fed Watch, and it'll take you to this page here. Now, it'll tell you what the current rate is, which this is still yesterday's rate. It'll tell you what the current rate is. So let me just make this a little bigger here. At 475 to 500 basis points. And what I was telling them was by March, that's expected to go down to 400 to 425 basis points. So at least a 50 to 75 basis point cut right there. And then if we go out a year from now, so what would that be? Next November, let's say right here. It looks like the market's projecting at least 100 basis points or more from that point. So super handy tool, very, very useful. If that's the market you're in, right? If that's the market you're in, definitely useful. Let's see what he has to say about this.
I have breaking news for you. The Federal Reserve has just decided to cut interest rates by 0.25%. And because of Trump's victory, the Federal Reserve has to rethink their plans for 2025. So Trump's victory changes everything for the Fed. So I want to bring you up to speed on the current situation. Okay, so let's start with this. Here's the rate of inflation for the past 20 years.
But a couple things. I don't know where he's going with this, so I'm gonna lead him out. Do you guys remember back in 2016 during the Trump years when the Fed was like, oh yeah, we need inflation to reach our 2% target. We need inflation to go up to our 2% target. What a world that was, right? And now we're on the other end of it. The thing that still, it just drives me crazy. If you've been following me for a while, you've heard me say this at least 712 times, is this is still rising prices, right? It's rising slower than it was on this side of the curve, but this is still prices going up. This is not prices going down. This is prices going up at a slower rate than the prices were going up 2 years ago, right? It's the equivalent of you are traveling down the highway, and at this point here, you are just like mashing the accelerator, right? You're in your Tesla Model Y Performance, and you're going from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. It's entirely too fast. I bought a car that's too fast for me. Okay, so I keep it in chill mode 100% of the time. But it is like this. It's like zero to a million almost instantly. It takes your breath away. It's so fast, right? But you're like, oh crap, there's a cop. Let me slow down. I'm still going to get to 100 miles an hour. I'm just not going to get there in 5 seconds. I'm going to get there in 7.5 seconds, right? So you're still accelerating. You're just accelerating slower. That's what this chart is saying right here. And it drives me crazy, right? Everyone wants to say that inflation's fixed. No, we are not fixed, right? My grocery bill is still double what it was back here. I would love to see my groceries go back to what it was. And hopefully Trump will do that for us. We'll see.
There are many ways to measure inflation. The Federal Reserve prefers to use PC inflation, which is what you're looking at. Now, as you can see, the rate of inflation started to really spike in 2021. In order to lower the rate of inflation, the Federal Reserve started to raise interest rates quickly. But because the rate of inflation has now fallen close to their 2% goal, they think that it's now appropriate to begin cutting interest rates, but that's inflationary. So the Federal Reserve acknowledges that cutting rates is inflationary and that there is a chance that inflation could reaccelerate.
Does anybody remember when inflation was transitory? Remember that? Remember when they were like, don't worry, inflation is transitory. I remember specifically having these conversations on the podcast with somebody, and he was trying to talk me up and down about how inflation is not a big deal. We're finally achieving the mandates that the Fed wants. It's great. And that's when chicken prices, I specifically remember this being a big news story, that chicken prices had doubled. And, that was before the eggs and everything else that have gone up so much. And it's like, hey, if you want a bucket of chicken from KFC, or if you want to go get some hot wings over a Wingstop or whatever, it's going to cost you twice as much. And I'm like, I love me some Wingstop. This sucks. I remember having that emotional reaction to it. So yeah, like I don't know if we have the smartest people running the ship. That's where I'm at. These are the same people who have round tripped this so far. I don't know if we have the smartest people in charge. I'm not there. I'm not the smartest guy, clearly. But I just don't think we got the right people in charge at this point.
However, the Federal Reserve says that they are currently more concerned about a weakening labor markets than they are about inflation. Now, I want to show you this. This is the rate of unemployment for the past 61 years. And just look at where we are right now. Historically, well, by their accounts, the labor market is in fantastic shape. People are working. We're near maximum employment. However,
I don't know where he's going next, but from what I've heard is that there's been a lot of people exiting the workforce, choosing not to work, right? Just to live at home, mooch off mom and dad, right? I didn't have that luxury. My parents, after I graduated college, they were like, I'll never forget. They called me on the phone. I was at the house in Arkansas, and they're like, you got 90 days. We're cutting you off in 90 days. I'm like, gotta go get a job.
The Federal Reserve is making the arguments that they need to cut interest rates to save the...
Oh, where I was going with that is, if there's less people in the participation of the workforce, then of course this would be low, right? Because less people looking for jobs means that there's a lower unemployment rate. But then I've also heard that there are so many people picking up 2-3 jobs trying to afford inflation, which has not come down. Prices have not come down. And so maybe they're making up, both ends of the spectrum here.
The labor markets. And
because, I mean, that number is just not all that high. That's where I'm going with it, right? We're not looking at COVID unemployment. We're not looking at, what is this? 2009? Oh man, that's when I was graduating college. I graduated college in December 2008. Worst time to graduate college. Don't go back. Don't do that. That's when I got my MBA. And I remember coming out into the world and I'm like, man, I'm going to get so much money coming out with my MBA. And I'm like if I can put food on the table at this point.
However, the Federal Reserve is making the arguments that they need to cut interest rates to save the labor markets. And I want you to take a look at this. This is GDP for the past 20 years. The Federal Reserve is obsessed with manufacturing a soft landing. And according to the reports, it's looking good. GDP for Q3 has been reported as positive 2.8%. Okay, so that is the narrative, that the labor market is strong. The economy is strong, but they need to cut interest rates to make sure that everything stays great. Is there a risk that inflation could reaccelerate? Yes, there is. They acknowledge it, but I guess according to them, it's a risk worth taking. Now, here was the Federal Reserve's plan, which is laid out in their SCP, their Summary of Economic Projections. Today, the Federal Reserve cut the Fed funds interest rate by 0.25% down to, it's now at 4.75%. So the Federal Reserve wants to cut rates down to 3.5% by the end of next year, so the end of 2020.
Okay, let's go back to the FedWatch tour real quick. So he said, what did he say, 375?
So the Federal Reserve wants to cut rates down to 3.5%.
3.5 by the end of next year. End of next year. I would say it's 50-50. Over under 350 right there. So we'll see about that. I'm not sure.
By the end of next year, so the end of 2025. It says 3.4% because it's a range, 3.25% to 3.5%. So that was their plan, but not anymore, because Trump's victory spoils their plan. That's because Trump is expected to cut taxes and impose new tariffs.
Ooh, I was talking to Mahesh about this yesterday. So every Wednesday we have our internal outlier meeting. We're all excited about Trump winning, right? And I was like, dudes, if he cuts income tax, oh my gosh, I could not imagine how much more wealthy I will be because of that. Because I'm like, I pay so much money in income tax, and you probably do too. It's like, good gravy. If you take away income tax, I'm just going to be rolling in it all day, every day. You can tariff the shit out of everybody else if you want. And if I can still make so much money because you take away income taxes, bring it. Now, realistically speaking, could we do that? Frick no. Are you kidding? The federal deficit is out of control, right? We're adding like $1 trillion every other day or something stupid. And I know I'm way off on that. Don't quote me on that. But how would they ever pay this debt off if they no longer have the income? With the tariffs is what they're saying. But then wouldn't that make the price of everything be way more expensive? So yeah, I'd be earning more because I'd have more money in my pocket, but would it be offset by more than due to the tariffs? I don't know. I'm not an economist. I'm just a guy on the internet talking to myself.
Okay, now I want you to think about this. You don't have to think about whether this is good or bad, whether the results will be positive or negative. You don't have to think about it like that. The question is, will Trump's decisions affect the Federal Reserve? And the answer is a clear-cut yes. So for example, look at tax cuts. If Trump cuts taxes, which is obviously promising to do if he delivers, that will affect the government's tax collections, right? So if it affects the government's tax collections, that'll affect the government's deficits. If it affects the deficits, that'll affect how much the government has to borrow, which affects how much the Federal Reserve has to print, and the interest rates on government debts. So yes, there will be an impact. You can't argue with that. It's unquestionable. Now you can say the same thing about the tariffs. Will that affect inflation? And the answer is a clear-cut yes. I'm not arguing one way or another.
Weird. It's almost like he and I have the same ideas.
How positive or negative it will be, the overall effect, or the degree to how much of an impact that it'll make. But it is true that the tariffs will cause an impact on the Federal Reserve, their decisions. Now, the market believes that the Federal Reserve will not lower interest rates to 3.5% by the end of next year, but instead that they'll only lower it to 4.0% because of the Trump policies.
That's not what I'm seeing. But maybe there's a lag that I don't know about.
So I'll tell you this. The Federal Reserve will have their press conference today, very shortly.
Ooh, Mikey Mike says, great point. Wouldn't tariffs ultimately bring jobs back to the U.S.? And I think that that's one of Trump's big agenda points, right? Making America great again, bringing jobs back. Yeah, I think you're right on that. So let's think about this, right? If we have more people working in the U.S., but those people aren't contributing to the U.S. income tax receipts, right? I still think it's going to be a net negative. I still think that the tariffs will eventually outweigh the earnings, the additional earnings you take home, your additional take-home pay, by not having that income tax. But I don't know. I really don't know.
I guarantee you that the Federal Reserve, that Jay Powell, he's going to get bombarded with questions about Trump, how it's going to affect the Federal Reserve's decisions. And the Fed is so predictable. We already know what they're going to say. The Fed is going to say that we're an independent institution and we're going to rely on the data. You know, that's what he always says. So the Federal Reserve, they're not going to speak the truth. You're not going to get anything out of Powell, at least not this meeting. But in their minds, they're thinking, oh, crap, now we have to rethink our whole plans for 2025. And you just wait and see. If you watch the clips, you're going to see that the reporters are going to ask Powell about the December meeting because that's their next meeting. They're going to ask him point blank, are you going to cut interest rates in December? And they're also going to ask what the policy is going to be for 2025. And Powell's not going to answer that. He's not going to say anything. He's just going to say the typical, oh, we're going to rely on the data. But I'll tell you this, in December, at that meeting, that's going to be a very important meeting because they will give their updated projections. They'll give their updated SCP. So we'll see what they write down. Today, the Federal Reserve will have their press conference. It'll be about 50 minutes long. Tomorrow, I'll make a video. I'll give you the highlights of what they say. So that 50 minutes, I'm going to condense that into about 5 minutes, like a highlight reel.
Okay, cool. I'm actually really stoked because next Thursday, the 14th, I will not be in the trading room. I will actually be at an event where Fed Powell is speaking. So I'm very stoked about that. Mark had asked me to try and like live stream, live blog my experience there. We'll see what I can do. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what the dress code, the attire, the expectations is going to look like, but I'm going to try and do my best. I think we could have some really interesting content come out of that. But that'll be next Thursday. And I do want to update y'all real quick on my schedule because it's going to be a little bit sketchy the next couple of weeks. Next Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to be out. But if there is any trading, I'll do it on the Discord. And then Wednesday, I'll be online. But Thursday, that's when I'm going to the Fed Powell event. And then the week of Thanksgiving, I'm completely offline. You will not find me. You will not find me. Let's see. Tug says, you also have to factor in the effects of reducing the size of the government. I think we're going to have a huge reduction in the size of the government, right? With Elon coming through, just think about what Elon did to Twitter, right? Didn't he axe like 70 to 80% of the workforce there? I can imagine that Elon's going to come through and axe 70 to 80% of the waste in government. And this is what we need. This is honestly what we need. That was my number one catalyst for voting for Trump. I mentioned this a couple days ago. Was as a businessman, I thought he would come through and clean up the government like he would a business, right? Cut costs, increase revenue generations. And I don't know if he was successful in that in his first term. I'm hoping he can in the second term, especially with somebody like Elon who's going to get shit done. He is like chief get shit done kind of guy, which is great, right? We need somebody like that in the government. I think it was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Elon was on a couple days ago. In fact, I'm listening to Joe Rogan again just a minute ago. It's up on my phone, as you can see. I'm a Joe Rogan fan. The Department of Government Efficiency, so DOGE, DOGE, and I thought that was pretty good. That's what he was saying when he was going to call it. Sebastian says there should only be one tax on sales, like a sales tax, right? We already pay the sales tax. Else you're paying taxes on already taxed income. Oh, Sebastian, we get double and triple taxed on different ways, right? Yeah. Oh, give me a break. Tariffs funded the operation of the federal government. I like that. The federal government until the 16th Amendment. When was the 16th? Alexa, when was the 16th Amendment?
Amendment was ratified on February 3rd, 1913.
1913. Interesting. That's more recent than I thought. I don't know, Bob. I mean, that would be interesting to see if they could do that. I just don't know. Right? That's where I'm at. Right. I'm very interested in all this political shakeup. I do think that the timing of these rate cuts is, I don't know. I feel like not appropriate right after the election. I feel like maybe we should have had like a honeymoon period to figure that out. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. Let's do our market analysis. All right. Welcome to the OVTLYR Trading Room. This is smart trading made simple. This is where we save time, I cannot scroll. Save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Christopher Yule. I've twice been awarded top 100 people in finance. I've been successfully trading since 2009. I'm a partner with OVTLYR, and this is my style of trading using the OVTLYR data. And I call it the golden ticket trading strategy. Now, how does OVTLYR work? Well, it's a four-step process. Number one, OVTLYR monitors how investors are reacting to changing market conditions, which we've had a lot of, news, which we've had a lot of, price movements, and the economy, all of which we're having tons of right now. So OVTLYR is monitoring all that. OVTLYR determines if investors are acting irrationally fearful or greedy and by how much. OVTLYR gives buy and sell signals when those irrational behaviors reach an extreme. And number 4, allowing you to get into the stock before the OVTLYR move happens. So there's a lot going on these days, but I do want to jump into the member highlight for today. All right, so in our member highlight, I like to showcase what's going on in the Discord. So let's take a look in here. Tug left a very, very strong endorsement. Thank you, Tug. I'll read it real quick. We can all agree that Chris ignites this group with passion and energy every single day. With years of hands-on trading experience, he applies his expertise with a level-headed judgment honed in the intense environment of live trading. His track record speaks for itself, boasting wins of over 80% with only minimal losses. This isn't just theory, it's tangible, proven results. Tug, thank you. I owe you a crisp $100 bill for that endorsement. While it may not seem like much, despite receiving a free copy of the latest second edition of the VIP Investors Toolkit, I decided to purchase the Secret Investing book, get a copy of it on Amazon, as a small token of my appreciation. I appreciate that very much. I'm building a dedicated library to the market and trading legends, and I want Chris's book to stand proudly among them. Oh, Tug, you're making me blush, my friend. Mark has not authored a book, and neither has Mahesh, that to my knowledge. But he's mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. Mark, Chris, Mahesh, thank you. Oh man, Tug, we're just getting started. I think Mahesh said that too. Yeah, we feel like we're just getting started. I personally feel I'll be able to take our trading game to the next level with the next few updates, which I believe the next update is supposed to come through next week, which is part of the reason why I want to let y'all know my schedule. I got a lot going on next week, and I'm going to be really flaky. Because of that, when you log in and the OVTLYR upgrade, OVTLYR 3.0 has come through, the best thing that you can do is to let us know in the Discord if you see anything wrong or if you see anything that's not working correctly, right? There's going to be bugs here and there. We already know that. We've gone through those a few times now, but we want to fix them ASAP. And if I'm not here to have those chats with you, please drop us a note in the Discord, right? Because the new 3.0 is going to be super sick. I can't wait for it. Too funny, Tug. All right, let's keep going here. So yeah, you guys can grab a copy of that. I'll be honest with you. I think I do want to write a new book on the golden ticket trading strategy. But what I'm going to do, because I'm real smart and lazy, is I'm going to take the videos in the Ultimate Trading Power Pack, which you can grab right here. And I think I'm just going to get ChatGPT to transcribe them and turn them into a video or into a book. I think we could actually make a really, really solid book. So either way, Tug, I really appreciate that endorsement there. Goran was talking about, he shared something here. Let's watch it together. So it says, this is how you feel when you start. At first, you think you got it all figured out. You're confident, you're excited, you're ready to make some big gains, but then the losses start to come, and suddenly things don't seem so simple. Yeah, we've all been there. The new trader gets coached, and he's like, is it time? And they're like, yeah, it's time. Bam! Negative 1,000%. I didn't see that earlier. I watched this. That was good, Goran. Thanks for sharing that. Mikey Mike was asking about the special training on Friday. So, Mikey Mike, every other Friday, I do these special trainings, and honestly, it's an overview of what we do on a daily basis. If people wanted to watch this on a daily basis, I think that they would get way more information. But we do these every other Friday, and then at the end there's the sales pitch, just so you know. But I went ahead and dropped that link for them in there, and if you guys want to watch that as well. It talks about how Goran was able to make 211% in just 13 trades. I really like to showcase what you guys are doing. Let's continue on here. Goran was asking, will we be trading today? I'm waiting on a SPY signal. So if we actually this morning, I got a notification that all 3 of the market indices had an alert. And I was like, oh, what happened? Do we got a buy signal? And while we don't have a buy signal yet, we do have a new green overlay that just started today. So that green uptrend overlay is now in effect on the SPY. But we still have the sell signal. So it may be tomorrow, right? The heat map has bottomed and is starting to turn up. And then the same with the price trajectory oscillator right there has bottomed and is starting to turn up. So it wouldn't surprise me if we did have that come through in the next 1 to 2 days. That talked about my schedule. Mikey Mike, Thought I'd share this. Not original me, but he has 3 quotes he writes down on his legal pad every day. Mike, I really appreciate you sharing this, right? The best product never wins. The best known always wins. Dominate. Do what others do not do. And there is no failure unless I quit. Mike, are you in marketing? It sounds like that. The best known always wins. Just sounds like that. Mike, I'd have to ask you some marketing questions then, because I did the marketing for OVTLYR, and I can always improve upon it. That's for sure. And then Dave was, like I said, the person who told me that even the pal was making the announcement today. So well done, Dave. Then over in the Share Your Big Wins, we got a lot going on. Dave is dominating, making trades all over the place. But one thing I really wanted to point out was Dave was able to take his trades in Lunar call options, and using our rolling strategy, Dave has locked in 100% risk-free trades. 100% risk-free trades. Isn't that cool? That's actually one of the things we do, right? Now, haven't had a chance to do that this year, but we have rolled up many times, and you've seen me do that. And Dave has definitely learned the lesson on how to do that, where you start with a debit and then you roll for a credit and you roll for a credit and you roll for a credit, and eventually you have a free trade on. And it doesn't get any better than that. So way to go, Dave. Super stoked to hear that. And he's got 145% profit on this other trade. So much going on. I am so excited to be a OVTLYR with you. Be sure to share your stories in the Discord as well. And of course, tell everybody about OVTLYR. That's the first rule, and hit the like button. I know you're already subscribed, but that lets YouTube tell everybody as well. So let's go to the markets now. We want to see the 10 over the 20, price over the 50, which we got. We got that. Oh my gosh. Like no man's land up here. If you remember, I said all-time highs are bullish because in theory, anybody who's ever bought before is now making money. And if people are making money, they're happy. If people are happy, they're willing to buy more. Buying begets buying. Selling begets selling, right? That's how trends form. This is a stellar bullish trend. And boy, I tell you what, I'd be very upset if I had shorted the market right here, because you'd be blown out. Blown out. Dave says, thank you. It's been a great day. Peter says, you can put your stuff in as a project and then tell it to write your book. Yeah, that's what I plan on doing, dude. I can help you with ChatGPT. Oh man, dude. Like, April's main job is using ChatGPT for so much. So yeah, I got her on the case. Don't worry about that, Dave. But really appreciate that. And I'm excited to hear about your true crime book. All right, so the market is absolutely pushing higher, and let's go to the market breadth. Slam this to the right, is looking higher as well. We do have that crossover back bullish. And I was looking over here, 92 new names on the bull list today, 9 names on the bear list today. So I am ready. My account is locked and loaded, ready to go as soon as I get the green light on the SPY buy signal. But for today, I don't have any trades to make. So let's do this. Let's shift over to New Trader, Rich Trader. For those of you who don't know, we've been going through New Trader, Rich Trader chapter by chapter. One of my top 5 trading books out there, and I absolutely recommend you pick up a copy on Amazon. It's going to cost you like $8. And the Kindle version that we have on the screen is actually the very first edition I ever read, and I've got the paperback, the Kindle edition, the audiobook edition. It's great on Audible if you want to get that. But it's really fun to go through because you can see my notes from like a decade ago, and I have worked directly with Steve Burns, and you can see a lot of what I do in the trading room directly from the quotes in here written by Steve Burns. So shouldn't surprise anybody as we go through. So we're in chapter 9. New traders try to prove they're right. Rich traders admit when they're wrong. The market gives no cares, no shits about what you think. The market will do what the market does. You have to admit you're wrong, or you will be blown out. Let's start this paragraph here. New trader watches more of his money slipped away. $8.98 was the last quote. Now he was down $185. He was heading into the territory of the most he wanted to lose on any one trade. His lack of discipline, inability to stick to his trading plan, and his refusal to honor his trailing stop had cost him an additional $135. Dude, it sucks. I know, especially we went through that on BX. Do I still have the chart for BX up? Yeah, we went through that on BX. I was very frustrated because it got right at, let me make this bigger. It got right at my half ATR level, and it closed a smidge above there, right? A smidge above there. And I said, okay, listen, I mean, if you remember, we watched this for a good 30 minutes because I didn't want to move until I got confirmation since it was right at that point. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to stick with because it is going to close right above my half ATR stop point. I'm going to hold it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? It ended up being like a 2% loss in the account. I'm going to live on a 2% paper cut. But it's frustrating when you get to those points. I will absolutely agree with you. I would much rather have it way down below my stop loss or way above my profit taking target if that's what you do, because it's a way easier judge than when it's kissing it, right? When it's kissing it, it's frustrating. It's demoralizing. It's like, what am I going to do? But if you have your plan, you just follow the plan. Now he understood that he could lose money on any trade. Oh, geez, give me a break. Now he understood he could lose money on any trade. Who doesn't feel that way? And that he could control what amount that was. Now that's the epiphany right there. You can lose money on any trade, but you can control how much that is. He realized that if a stock met his exit price, trailing stop, or stop loss, the odds were that he was wrong about the trade. He should take that as a signal to get out, right? If at any point in time it's closing below that level, it's a signal. Listen, it's just not going to work out. It occurred to him that it was a lot like insurance. He didn't get mad paying for car insurance. Dude, car insurance has more than doubled in the last couple of years, going back to inflation. I'm pretty mad about that. Home insurance as well. I get mad about that part. Even if he doesn't need it for that month, he doesn't get mad about paying for it. But if he were to total his car, his insurance would protect him from financial ruin. Sure. Rich trader's tip. I don't think traders start making money until they mature and can see the big picture. We can easily become unrealistic and go down the wrong road. It's crucial that we stay on the road to success. If you need to ask others for their opinions on a trade, stop trading and develop your own trading plan. It'll take time for you to create your plan and to test your strategies, but if you're willing to put in the hours involved, if you're not willing to put in the hours involved, you're not going to make it. So, pretty short chapter today. Here's the takeaway, in my opinion, is you can always control your risk, right? I think Steve taught me this quote. He was like, you never actually know how much you're going to win, but you should damn well better know how much you're planning to lose. Before you get into any trade, you should know exactly how much you're willing to lose. But the win, that's open-ended. I don't know how much I'm going to win, but I know exactly how much I'm willing to lose. So thank you so much for coming to today's OVTLYR Trading Room. No trades today, but I think we're coming in real hot. We couldn't do this without you, and we want to pay you back every single day by helping you save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team. This special will be on until the end of the week. That's what Mahesh told me. If you don't already have the annual plan, you can still get it for 45% off, which is literally 90 cents a day. It was supposed to end, but Mahesh was telling me that there's a glitch in the pricing and the 3.0 upgrade that's going through. And he's like, we're just going to leave the pricing until we get the upgrade going through. Once we're good, once the 3.0 is good, then we'll take off this special. So you're actually super lucky if you still haven't got this yet. Let us know if you need anything in the Discord, and tell everybody and your mama about OVTLYR as well. Have a great afternoon. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Talk soon.